All right, I want to talk briefly about the justices, how they become justices, a few things about that. So, we've got Amy Coney Barrett here. She's a Trump appointment. This is Neil Gorsuch, also a Trump appointment, and Brett Kavanaugh, a Trump appointment. Ketanji Brown Jackson, Joe Biden, appointed. Down here we have Elena Kagan, who is Obama, Samuel Alito, who is George W. Bush, John Roberts, George W. Bush, Clarence Thomas was George Herbert Walker Bush, so this was the father. And then Sonia Sotomayor, who is a Obama appointment. So some of the things that go into consideration when a president is determining who they're going to pick is the age. They obviously want someone who's going to be fairly young because they are going to serve for life. Race, religion, ideology, what political party they affiliate themselves with. These people are going to serve for life, and they are going to carry on, hopefully, the legacy of the president who appoints them, or at least that's the hope of the president. Obviously, the president can only serve for 8 years. So they want to put someone in there who shares their same political philosophy, their same political ideology, their same political party. So when the president is gone, they will continue on in that same philosophy. They tend to retire when there is a president who shares those same philosophies so that they can be replaced with someone who shares their same ideology. Oftentimes there is tension between the president and the Senate, especially if they're from different political parties. The president is the one who nominates the justices, but it's the Senate who gets to confirm them. The tension comes mostly when we are replacing one ideology with someone from another ideology. And so when we look at Brett Kavanaugh here, he replaced a moderate, who was considered moderate, Justice Kennedy. And then you have Thurgood Marshall here, who replaced, Clarence Thomas, I'm sorry. You have Clarence Thomas here, who is very conservative, probably the most conservative justice on the bench right now. And he replaced Thurgood Marshall, who was extremely liberal. And then Amy Coney Barrett is the one who replaced Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And once again, extremely conservative versus one that would have been considered fairly liberal, if not very liberal. As far as the process of getting them confirmed in the Senate, you have that what the Senate called the nuclear option. There was a time where you had to have that 60 votes in order to have in that filibuster. The rules were changed for lower federal court judges so that you could no longer filibuster. You only needed 51. And then they changed the rules for the Supreme Court also. So now the only thing that you need is a 51 member vote in the Senate to confirm a member of the Supreme Court also. There's a purity test. It's called a litmus test to determine how pure your ideology is. And the litmus test is usually the question on abortion. So when they are being confirmed in the Senate, the number one question that every senator wants to know is, and this was, I would say more important before Roe versus Wade was overturned, but it's still a very important question they want answered, is how are you going to rule on abortion? And so that is really the chief motive for this question, this litmus test. How are you going to rule on that particular issue? There's something that's called senatorial courtesy, but this is only at the district level and not at the Court of Appeals. And so basically what happens, because there are so many more justices at the district level, since that's the original jurisdiction, they're the ones that hear all the cases in their entirety, which could take weeks or months. Oops, sorry about that. So senatorial courtesy means that whenever there is an opening at the district level, the president tends to defer to the senators from those particular states to pick judges that they want. Now, obviously, that's only going to be if the senators from that state share the same party that the president does. So the president is going to defer to the senators in that state in terms of if they have certain people that they want to be judges at the district level, at that lowest federal level, not at any of the other ones, not the appeals or the Supreme Court, and again, only if they share the same ideology.